8:05, coming up on 8:06 on Hot Talk 99.5, the Hot Talk Morning Show. Dave Priest and Liz Calloway, Tuesday morning. Welcome to it. Coming up in about 15 minutes, going to be letting you know how you can swim with Bubbles the elephant.
Yeah, I heard the elephants out back.
Out in the park. Well, they could be out grazing. Do the elephants graze? Well, they probably eat trees
I don't know.
and stuff.
I think they frolic in water.
It's the Hot Talk Morning Show at 8:22, along with Dave Priest and Liz Calloway. If you're a local, you've probably heard rumors that every once in a while you could be driving down the Intercoastal Waterway and you look over there and you see an elephant bathing in the waterway and you're like, no, that can't actually be happening. But it actually does happen because we do have on the Grand Strand this place that you're probably aware of, but you may not have had an opportunity to visit. It's called Tigers, Tigers. It's the Institute for Greatly Endangered and Rare Species. And we've got Robert Johnson, the senior trainer, in here with us right now. Robert, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as I said, I am a huge animal lover, and so is Liz as well. And I've always wanted to stop by, but I've just never had the opportunity to go on out. But you do have an opportunity. Well, before we get to this opportunity, tell us a little bit about the Institute and what goes on. Where is it? And, is it available for people to come in on a regular basis? What's all going on?
We actually have a couple exhibits here in Myrtle Beach. We have a facility at Barefoot Landing called Preservation Station that is open on a daily basis. It's open from mid-March to mid-October. So this weekend, we're opening up for the season. Beyond that, we have the preserve where the animals actually live. A giant 50-acre preserve, really a Shangri-La. And you can visit that, but only by appointment. We have very special VIP tours that happen only a couple times a week. But it is the only place in the world where you can really get hands-on with the animals, something that's unfortunately going to destroy any zoo visit you have in the future, because you're going to want to.
Well, it was just within the past year, I think, that you guys had another YouTube video out. Every once in a while you see it, and it's like, oh, that's just right down the block from where we live. Wasn't it like one of the apes that you have with a dog? They were best friends, or I can't remember who was the best friends. It just happened recently here.
There are a couple actually. The one with the orangutan and the dog, Surrey and Roscoe, for the past 3 or 4 years has been huge. They have their own National Geographic special. They have their own kids books. But there's also Bubbles the elephant has a pet dog as well named Bella.
Really?
And
That's what it was?
That video just about a month ago went viral and millions of hits. It's been all over the world. So
this is so amazing to me because before this auction, I just moved here in July. I did not even know that this existed and that it's so under lock and key. So this lends to me to believe that you are primarily interested in the preservation of these animals and the knowledge that you gain from working with them more than being a zoo.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not a zoo as you would think of in the traditional sense. We do have people come visit, but under, very specific circumstances. And it is a lot more about preserving the animals, not only in captivity, but we do a lot of work worldwide helping to save these animals in their natural habitats.
So what goes on a daily basis in there? Like, what is your main vision and mission as Tigers?
We do quite a few things. Number one, we educate people about wildlife. We see about 12 million people a year between our facilities here in Myrtle Beach. We have a big park in Miami as well, and we do a show up near Boston for a couple weeks, a couple months every year. So we see about 12 million people with a very big conservation message. Then we take the money that we generate from that and we put it into grassroots conservation projects all over the world.
Well, what do you think about as far as conservation is concerned? We're talking with Robert Johnson from the Tigers Preserve here in town. There's recently, like the black rhino thing that was going on a few months ago, where they were auctioning off your chance to kill a black rhino, but because of the money that was being raised, it seems so counterintuitive that they're saying, well, we're raising so many hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars that it actually helps the other black rhinos.
And they sacrifice like an older one that can't breed anymore.
I mean, what do you think about situations like that?
I'm sure you've heard about this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that, you kind of have to weigh it out. Obviously, you'd rather not see the rhino shot, but it's the same concept that that hunters in America happen to be the single largest conservation group. The amount of money that they spend on licenses and everything else sets aside more land than any other group does, obviously, because they want to go out there and do that. So it's very difficult because you have to balance your emotional attachment with the animals with a realistic look of what the world is.
What about this whole thing with the giraffe? The what was the name of that giraffe?
I don't remember. But
Marius something. The giraffe that they euthanized, the 2-year-old giraffe, they euthanized and butchered in front of the public and fed to the lions. And then they did the same thing in another. And then we found out that this happens all over the place, in all different places. And this is a common practice to prevent inbreeding.
There is certainly that level of culling that happens with wildlife. And again, it's very difficult to say exactly what's right because you have an emotional attachment, and then it's very easy to say that this is wrong or this is right.
It looks wrong.
But until you're in that situation, how do you really make that decision?
Yeah.
Robert, before we run out of time,
Yes.
we want to give you enough time to talk about the situation. I mean, swimming with Bubbles the elephant. What's the program going on where somebody has a chance to do that?
We have actually teamed up with Charity Buzz, which is a very large organization that auctions off very unique experiences, something that you cannot do anywhere else, and then uses that money to 501c3 nonprofit organizations. And swimming with Bubbles is something that almost no one will ever get to do. Swimming with an elephant in general, Bubbles is the
imagine it.
only interactive elephant like this in North America.
Right.
It's the only one that you can fully have contact with. And her favorite thing in the world is to go swimming, and she loves new people because she has a whole game she likes to play with them.
That's
Really?
awesome.
So how much do people donate for that? Like what does the bidding start at for something like that?
The bidding right now is about $5,600. But that is far less than really what it's worth. What do you pay for something that
once in a lifetime
it's
experience?
really once in a lifetime? Nobody
Would it
gets
be
to do.
just for one person?
This
or
is
they
for
could bring
4 people.
For 4 people.
And it also includes 4 tickets for the Myrtle Beach Safari, where you get to spend the morning interacting with tiger cubs, seeing tigers swim, seeing full-grown tigers running. You
And
meet
how
the
much
liger.
is that worth for 4 people?
$260 per person is generally the cost there.
Okay.
And then you get a photo CD and DVD of your entire adventure. So that by itself is more than $1,200.
We've got a little bit more than 30 seconds left. If somebody wants to get in on the bidding, where do they go?
Go to CharityBuzz.com. They can find out about that.
CharityBuzz.com.
I posted a link
and we'll have everything
on
posted on our
WRNN's
Facebook page. Robert, we really, really appreciate,
Yes.
number one, what you do, because we love animals and we love to want to see them preserved as well. And appreciate you coming in and telling us a little bit more about the Tigers Preserve.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And if anybody does want to call up as far as Tigers is concerned to find out your schedule, and as far as tours are concerned, where do they go for that?
You can find out about how to interact with the animals at MyrtleBeachSafari.com. You can also find out about the conservation work we're doing around the world at RareSpeciesFund.org.
All right. Excellent. Robert
Thank
Johnson,
you.
thanks so much.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
thank you.
All right, it's 8:30 on Hot Talk 99.5. Time now for Fox News. $8:35 on Hot Talk 99.5. It's the Hot Talk Morning Show
I'm
along with Dave.
verklempt.
What?
And Liz
Because
Calloway. I am verklempt because I am just so excited. I had no idea that this existed. I know I'm not going to be able to afford to swim with Bubbles. At least not in this lifetime. I can dream about it. I posted a video of it. It's incredible. I mean, I can't even imagine that experience. But the thought of the fact that this Tigers Rare Species Reserve is right here, and you can, for $260, you can spend a morning or an afternoon with these animals you would never encounter in your entire life. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Like I said, people for years would call us up here and say, I was just boating down the intercoastal waterway and I saw an elephant in the waterway.
Oh.
And people would be like, yeah, right. Yeah, sure you did. But no, actually you did.
Right.
The Bubbles is out there in the waterway. Yeah, all you have to do is go to YouTube or go to our website if you want to. But if you go to YouTube and just type in Bubbles the elephant or Bubbles and Bella, and you'll see Bubbles out there with Bella the dog.
Did Bella pass?
I may have.
Because I see in memory of Bella.
Yeah, I see that. It may have been another Bella. Maybe it's the same one. I don't know. But yeah, that's got like 1.7 million hits on YouTube. So that's a lot.
Yeah. And we talked about attack cats this morning earlier, with that 22-pound cat. And here you have an entire preserve of these beautiful, majestic, gentle creatures. And to speak to Robert is just so amazing because he has this. Did you feel like he had a different aura about him?
What,
I don't know, like a horse whisperer aura, like a tiger whisperer aura. People who work with animals on a day-to-day basis like that. It's just you're just different. I would rather work with animals.
And if I remember, I probably would too. If I remember the story, it was from several years ago with the orangutan, as he was saying. If I'm not mistaken, I think a dog just wandered onto their property. It was a stray, and it got caught up with the orangutan. And when I say caught up, I mean they just kind of got close to each other, and they become best friends, and they just were inseparable. It was just a stray that it was like an old hunting dog that lost its way and made its way onto this property, and then all of a sudden they're just best of friends. It's just amazing when you see interspecies friendships like that. It's just really super neat. But
it makes you feel hope for the rest of us.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
If animals can be friends, then we can be friends as well.
Especially those that are not really supposed to be friends, like a cat and a guinea pig. My my sister-in-law has this adorable guinea pig and this cat, and they were just fast friends. It's unbelievable.
Well, if elephants and dogs can be friends, maybe elephants and donkeys can be friends as well. But no, actually, that's too much to ask. That's not going to happen.